Generating some buzz on social media. To give it a little context, Judge King saying that he was trying to send a message, a very strong message, to a 16-year-old girl and about a dozen kids that were with her on this field trip. His point in all of this was deter these kids from ever showing up in his courtroom for real, charged with the crime.
You fall asleep in my courtroom one more time, I'm putting you in the back, understood? You don't care? As soon as we bring the prisoner out, she can step back there.
A field trip to 36 District Court downtown Detroit this week turned into a scared straight simulation. A judge ordering a 16-year-old girl into jail clothes and handcuffs.
You're not fazed by this at all, are you?
Judge Kenneth King directing his questions to a 16-year-old girl who fell asleep twice in his courtroom, and when she woke, it was allegedly with an attitude, laughing and mocking.
So why are you being disrespectful to this court? Yes, ma'am. You sleep at home in your bed, not in court. And quite frankly, I don't like your attitude.
You can see at this point she's in jail clothes and handcuffs. The rest of the teens on the field trip behind her. They came with the nonprofit, the Grooming of Detroit.
How old are you? You're old enough to know better. What is your problem?
I apologize.
Sources close to the situation tell us at this point, the back and forth turned into a simulation to send a message.
I'm thinking maybe she needs to go to the juvenile detention facility. You do understand that we have a jail for kids.
King reportedly said he never had intentions to send her anywhere, but went on to describe to the kids what it is like at the Detroit detention facility.
Not a very pleasant place to be in that you guys enjoy your freedom, don't you? You don't have any freedom there.
Then he asked the teen.
That's where you want to go?
An actual attorney in the courtroom then steps in as if they were representing the teen.
She's nervous, doesn't do well with public speaking. Didn't want to necessarily speak today. I'm just tired. That's all.
It ended shortly after that, with everyone in the group going home. The Grooming of Detroit says this in part: although the judge was trying to teach a lesson of respect, his methods were unacceptable. The group of students should have been simply asked to leave the courtroom if he thought they were disrespectful, adding the teen is traumatized. We're told that Judge King reached out to the 16-year-old parent, offering mentorship moving forward. But as of today, we're told that Judge King and nobody else from the court will be talking at this point because of legal reasons.
A well-known Detroit judge is temporarily off the bench after a controversial interaction with someone sitting in the gallery of his courtroom who was basically on a field trip. It all started when a 15-year-old girl fell asleep in Judge King's court Tuesday while on a visit organized by a Detroit nonprofit. When King called her out, he didn't like her response, and that ultimately led to the young girl being put in jail clothes and handcuffs. According to 36th District Court Chief Judge William McConaughey, Judge King has been removed from his criminal case docket and will undergo, here's the quote, necessary training to address the underlying issues that contributed to this incident.
All right, well, there you go. Look like Judge King has been removed to the bench temporarily. It seemed like he was exercising his power. It always kind of reminded me of how cops, when they pull you over, a cop just may just be doing a regular routine. They just feel the need to show what type of power they have. But let me get you guys' thoughts about it. Detroit judge put teenager in jail in handcuffs for sleeping in this courtroom. I'm gonna go ahead and start with you, Chanel.
I just don't understand the point. I don't understand the point of him doing that. I don't understand it. I don't really have anything to say about that one because I just don't understand it. What was his reason? Like, what did she do wrong? What lesson was trying to be taught by just putting her in uniform and handcuffs? So I don't know.
So if that was your daughter, how would you feel?
Oh, is that my daughter? I have an issue. I mean, looking at that as a parent, although I'm not a parent, but she's 16. Shouldn't he be like having some type of conversation with the parent? She's not 18, I guess. I don't know the whole thing about that. But if that was my kid, I would have an issue with that.
Well, they was on a field trip, and she was sleeping.
Where was the teachers? That's why I'm confused about the whole thing. Mm-hmm. So, like, who was the chaperones? Like, what was going on? Like, it seemed like they were just in there with just the judge. So the whole situation was just awkward.
Okay. All right. What about you, Trev?
I think it was a little bit harsh for today's standards, right? But in actuality, like if this was to happen maybe 30 years ago, it wouldn't really be a big deal. And the parents would have been like, well, you would have been in contempt of court at that point. So I hope you learned your lesson. Because ultimately nothing happened. She didn't go to actual jail or anything. It might have been a little humiliating, but we got humiliated like hell when we acted out as children. I know I did. Like it was very different. Teachers to slap you up and all that if you if you had issues with behavior. So I mean, it probably was a little bit much for today's standards, because if it were children that were like on a Scared Straight program, then I dig it. But they were just on a field trip for whatever reason in a courtroom, so they weren't there to learn a lesson. In that particular situation, they should just say, get her up out of there. You know what I mean? You're not suitable for this particular situation. Get her out of here. So I mean, now he's going to have to deal with that. So because that's the thing. It's very different if they were there to actually learn a lesson. If these were troubled kids who were you were trying to get on the right path, then that would have been relevant. But being that it was just a field trip, she probably thought it was funny. And as long as she stays out of trouble, she never has to worry about being in that particular situation at all, right? So these weren't children that were already locked up and all that. So, like, I mean, I don't dig it in that sense, because he could have just kicked her out. And that's what I would have did as a judge. I would have said, all right, she has to leave, versus you trying to. And I don't know if he was power tripping per se. I don't think it was a power trip. I think that he's just one of those old head stern dudes that is no nonsense. But you have to be very careful when you try to discipline other people's children. If you don't have the okay from the parents, if that wasn't part on the permission slip or whatever they call it nowadays, then I don't think it's relevant. He could have easily just kicked the hell out.
All right. What about you, Marcus? You're on mute, just so you know.
I think he a short, weak man. I think he a whole out here, because I heard some of the backstory. The girl family is having like housing insecurity, like she homeless or whatever. So she don't get no sleep at night. So she been falling asleep like multiple times throughout the day, according to the story. And falling asleep not a crime. If you wanted her to step out the courtroom, then that's fine. That's understandable. If you felt that it was disrespectful to your process, that's understandable. But that wasn't what he was doing. He was trying to show his power to her in that moment. And when she wasn't responding the way he wanted, he kept escalating that shit. That's some whole ass shit to do with a child, especially when they ain't done nothing wrong. You already know as black people, yeah, you were muted. Chanel. Still, you're mute. Yeah. We already know as black people that, well, most black people don't have much faith in the judicial system, right? We think it's biased and people exercise their power in ways they shouldn't. And you take a ordinary interaction and you reinforce that stereotype that's gonna have that girl probably hating the police more than she might already do, hating the court system more than she already do, and feeling like no matter if it's a black man, black woman, white woman, it's the same system. That was a missed opportunity to like teach them how the judicial system works and how justice can be fair, if it can be. And he just failed completely. And I think that was horrible. And as a father, I would be irate. I would want to hurt that man, honestly.
Your ass would be in jail too.
Yeah, I probably would.
But I was a judge. I'm throwing your ass clean in jail.
You say if you was the judge?
I was the judge. I'd throw your ass clean in jail.
That's fine.
Because I don't get where we get off thinking we can be disrespectful to each other, to people, and then think it's okay.
How was she disrespectful to him again?
That's what he said. He said she got disrespectful in the courtroom. That's when the escalation of do you want to go in the back came from.
Exactly not. So she wasn't facing a crime, bro. If he wanted to ask her to leave, he could ask her to leave.
You don't have to face a
crime. He wanted to ask her to leave, he could ask her to leave.
You don't have to face a crime to be held in contempt of court. You could be held in contempt as a person in the audience. You could be held in contempt in any way. If you're disrespectful to the courtroom, they can hold your ass in contempt and put you in and dress you out and put you in jail.
That's a gross overreach. That's a gross overreach.
That's still a kid. That's a kid.
That system, gross overreach.
Well, if a kid gets disrespectful, we're not talking about just falling asleep. He said she got disrespectful. So after he
what exactly did he say she did?
Well, he didn't say that, but
he said she giggled.
Huh?
She fell asleep. He addressed her on it, and she giggled. That is enough disrespect to try and throw that young lady in jail. Hell no.
So we laughing at judges' faces now?
Man, fuck that judge.
And that's the problem right there.
Fuck that judge.
Fuck the judge attitude that we have, and then we wonder why we get treated wrong. Why you got a judge attitude? What did he do? What did he do besides
he put a little girl in? He put a little girl in a jumpsuit and tried to send her to jail for falling asleep. The initial thing
he did it for being disrespectful. If you talking to someone and they laugh in your face and you're being serious, are we really gonna?
And she fell asleep and he said, "I'm gonna lock you up." And she like for falling asleep and she giggled. I could see why she would be like, "That's crazy. You gonna lock me up for falling asleep, dude?" Sleeping is a crime now. Being tired is a fucking crime. Come on, Sweeney.